Hi everyone, my name is Kata. This is my making journey. Today I am filming from Rio de Janeiro. As you can see, I have dois irmãos in the back, which means two brothers hill. I hope I don't get too shaken. I hope you can't hear the air conditioning from next door too loudly. I wasn't able to do this introduction to this video from Valparaíso, but the rest of the video was filmed there. You'll see the preparation of a sweater of my, I was preparing for this trip, for this vacation, and I wanted to make sure that my entire wardrobe was made by me, and I included a sweater last minute, which is the sweater you're going to see in this tutorial. Yeah, and I walk you through the steps of how I made it. This is a tutorial for beginners. If you are a complete beginner, you've never knitted before, I don't suggest you do this as your first project, because I think you need to learn a few things before that. Knit, purl, casting on, binding off. I will go through casting on and the stitch I'm going to do, but it'll be much easier if you tackle a small project at the beginning of your making journey instead of something big. This could very well be a second or third project if you're comfortable and you have an even hand. I think that's the most important thing that you need to practice. All right, I do go over some of the techniques and I go over the stitch. So if you've knit neck warmers, like for example, the one I have in one of the tutorials, if you've knitted hats before or scarves, you're totally ready to do this. And I'm gonna show you a few things that will help you make sweaters for the future. You do not have to use the type of yarn, which is fingering weight, or the type of needles, which is a US size 7 or 4.5 millimeters that I used. This is a project that you can do for any gauge. So any needle, any yarn that you want, any stitch, just make sure that you calculate doing the gauge really well. And that's about it. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope it's useful. Let me know in the comments and let me know what you think of the sweater. See you later. So this is the sweater I'm recycling. It was made in 2020 and it's a design I was working on at the time for a summer sweater. I really like the stitch, but it just feels a little heavy and frumpy. I hate the sleeve, and it just, you know, I didn't like how it was going and I just put it away at the end of 2020. I was working on this in December of 2020, and I never used it again or saw it again until now, making this new version, or well, the new version I'm going to make. So what I'm going to do now is unravel this. Then I'm going to soak it to stretch it, because the drop stitch is not going to look well unless the yarn is nice and straight. And then once I do that and it dries, I'll be able to start knitting. I did make the swatch already, which you will see shortly, with some leftover yarn that I had, and hopefully it'll be a lot better. And now I'm going to show you the sweater that I had made originally for this tutorial, which is the ugliest thing ever. All right, so this is the original one I made. As I said, I didn't like the end result. Oh, there's some hammering going on right now. Inevitable, we're fixing the floor downstairs. Sorry about that. I hope you can't hear it that loudly on the video. The material is super nice and it was a really quick knit. It's a cotton, it's very loosely spun with a silk thread going through it to keep it tight. I don't know if you can see. Yes, you can. And it's really nice. It feels really nice, but I just thought that it looked really frumpy and heavy, and it just, you know, it's not what I wanted to do. So I'm going to do the other version of the sweater with the drop stitch. But this is what it looks like. It has the same shape of the yellow sweater. So this is what the next white one with the drop stitch will look like, more or less. Hi everyone, so now we're ready to unravel the sweater. I took it apart. If you're not going to recycle yarn, forget this section because you're not going to need it. But if you're recycling yarn, this is what we're going to do. As you can see, when I unravel this, the yarn is very wavy, and that's going to be a problem for my drop stitch, because when I drop it, you're going to be able to see that, and it might mess with the tension and how the drop stitches sit and how long they are, etc. So I'm going to unravel this and I'm going to soak it in some water to be able to stretch it and dry it again and make a new skein, or, you know, recycle it properly. There's many ways of doing this. You can use a chair to wrap it. I do it like this many times, but I find that this way, what I come up with is very small. And because it's so much material and we're in fall and it's not so hot anymore, I want to use my warping pegboard, which is a tool we use for weaving, to make longer loops, yeah? So I'm gonna show you what it looks like. This is a warping pegboard. If you've never seen one, this is a tool that we use in weaving. I don't weave much. I don't have enough space, but I love weaving. It's such a cool art, and maybe one day I will weave here. I doubt it. And so, but it's just really easy to use, and if you can do this, some people have just pegs that they clamp down on a table. You can find stuff like that or make it, or just as I said, use your arms, use a chair. It doesn't really matter. Normally this is hooked up to a wall, which I'm not doing right now, and I just brought it to show you, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the whole thing in front of you. But basically, this is how it works. We'll start with the sleeve. Here we go. All right, so basically, you just tie it to one of the pegs. But I'm just going to go around the entire square. I think that'll make a big enough loop. As many times as I need to, just like this, which is what you would be doing if you used your arm or a chair or whatever else, yeah? So I'm not gonna show you unraveling this whole thing because you're gonna be sitting for half an hour, but I will come back when I am ready to tie this so that you know what it looks like or how to tie it so it doesn't get tangled before you put it in water. Because once you put it in water, it's gonna get harder to, and then after it dries, it gets harder to untangle if there's a mess, if there's any tangling in there. So you want to make sure that when you do this, whether it's in your arm or on a chair or on something like this, you do this very organized, and that you tie things up really well in a manner that they allow airflow, but also that they allow things not to tangle. So I'll see you in a bit. Hi again. Okay, so now that it's ready and I have put all the yarn on this, I am going to tie it. So you can just go over all of them, or you can divide them in two. A lot of people divide them in two. I think I'm just gonna go over all of them, and I'm gonna put 4, and that should be enough to make sure that this is safe and secure. Now I'm going to wind it a couple of times so that if this happens to get untied, it won't be a big deal, and I may be able to salvage it. So I'm not going to tighten it too much because I want airflow through these, through this section so that it can be nice and dry. So I'm going to do 3 more. So now that this is ready, we can take it off safely without having to worry about this wonderful piece of yarn tangling on itself. Now we are in the bathroom, and I'm just going to put the yarn in there, and I'm going to let it soak here. Sorry, I'm moving a little bit. I'll try not to move. So I'm going to let it soak here for a while, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm going to say hi to Max, sit with him for a little bit, and I will show it to you later. All right, so once you've soaked it, all you need to do is pick it up. I like to stretch it a little bit. You can see it was wavy 2 seconds ago and now it's not. And then just wring it. I think Max is watching a trash truck. I hope you can't hear it. And then all you need to do is hang it and dry it. Now we're in the depths of Casa California in the beautiful laundry room. And this is what you want to do after. Just hang it. I actually hang it at the front of the house because it gets sunlight. I'm not sure how fast this will dry, but let it hang and let it dry. Hi everyone. So now that this is dry, I took it out of the window, and all you want to do is put it back where you had it. Sometimes they get tighter once they dry, so I'm putting it like this now. I'm going to clip the ties, and then I'm going to wind it back into a ball. Once your ball is ready, start knitting.
All right, everyone. So the first thing I did for this project was try 2 different stitches. I knew I wanted to use the drop stitch because I want this, as you know, to be a summer, very airy type sweater. But I didn't know if I wanted it to be fully drop stitch, like what we have up here, like this sort of mesh, right? Or a mix. Now, I was really confused, so I did a survey between my friends and family, and it came out even, so no help there, except for a comment of one of my sisters who said that this looked like a mesh bag. And that didn't bother me so much, except for the fact that it made me think that maybe with a baby on board, I mean, not a baby on board, a baby on my hip all the time, although he's a toddler, not a baby, this might get a little snagged, as opposed to this one that might be a little bit more sturdy. So I decided to go with this this stitch here. I'm going to show you. This also was knitted in 3.5 millimeter needles. And now I'm going to show you the blocked version. It's not fully dry, but it is blocked. And as you can see, the stitch is really nice. This one was knit with 4.5 millimeter needles, so a little bit bigger. And I really like it. I think it's going to be sturdy, but still airy enough so that it is not heavy, but you know, still not warm for nights in Brazil or in an air-conditioned space, etc., etc. So now that I know this is 30 stitches in a 6-inch or 15 centimeter-ish swatch. Yeah, these numbers are important because we're going to calculate using these numbers in a minute.
I just wanted to add something important about swatches. In order for a swatch to work well when you make your own garments, your own projects, the tension of your swatch has to be the same tension that you knit your project with. Otherwise, it's not going to be a useful swatch.
So here's the sweater that I want to use as a model, and we're going to calculate how many stitches I need to cast on. But first, I want to show you how I'm doing this. So this is 61 centimeters or 24 inches. And this original sweater, is nice and airy. It's got a V-neck. I don't know if I'm gonna make a V-neck or just more of a like a dropped, an off-the-shoulder type sweater. I have to see. But this is basically what it is, 3/4 sleeve. You might have seen it in some of my other videos. I'm pretty sure I've worn it before. But the width is important so that we can calculate the cast on, which is what we're gonna do now. As I said, we have here 30 stitches in 6 inches or 15 centimeters. So now we're going to do the math. We'll do centimeters and then inches. We have, so you're going to say the following. We have 30 stitches in 15 or so centimeters. It was a little bit more. 6 inches is a little bit more, it's a tiny bit more, but I'm just going to say 15 centimeters for the sake of clarity. And that is, and what we need to know is how many stitches there are in the equivalent of 24 inches, which was 24 inches, 61 centimeters, right? So 30 stitches in 15 centimeters, and we want to know how many stitches in 61 centimeters, the width of the sweater as opposed to the width of the swatch. So now we're going to multiply 30 times 61. And according to my calculator, that is 1,830. And what we're going to do now is divide this number by the last number that we have in order to get the number we want. So 1,830 divided by 15 is, according to my calculator again, I'm not doing this off the top of my head, is 122 stitches for 61 centimeters. So for the width of the sweater that I want to make. So now we're going to do it in inches. It's going to be the same exact exercise. So we're going to say 30 stitches in 6 inches, and we want to know how many stitches we can fit in 24 inches. So we're going to do the same thing, 30, just making sure you can see it, 30 times 24. Sorry, let me just do this right so you can see it well. 30 times 24, and that's going to be 720. And we're going to, we just did that, and we're going to divide it by the last number we have in order to get the number we want. So we're going to divide 720 into 6, and that is going to give us 120 stitches. Now, why is there a difference between the centimeters and the inches? It's super simple. It's because I'm not using an accurate number. This difference here, 6 inches, is actually a little bit more than 15. So if I wanted to be super accurate, I would actually have to use those decimals. But in the grand scheme of things, with these, with such a, with a fingering weight and small needles, or relatively small needles, like a 4.5 millimeter needle, two little stitches is not much. It's a centimeter, or almost half an inch. And as we know, the sweater is really wide, so I don't really care. I'm in a rush, and I am going to assume that I'm going to knit a little bit loose, so I'm going to do 120, plus I like nice, even, round numbers. So this is how much I am going to cast on. So now we're going to proceed to casting on. So now we're going to calculate how much yarn we need in order to make 120 stitches. So I'm just going to go around. This is the same width needle, so it's a US size 7 or 4.5 millimeters. The same as this one, but it's longer, so it's easier to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this around, wrap this around the needle 30 stitches, and then I'm going to time it by 4. So let's go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I actually wrapped it around 40 times, and now I am going to mark the last part of that thread, and I am going to triple this. This is 40 times 3 is 120, so I'm just going to triple that length. So that would be 1, 3, and leave a little bit of a tail, just in case. And now I am going to do the twisted German cast on. I'm going to put my yarn on this side and the end on as the opposite side of that, and I'm going to make a triangle with my thumb, my index finger, and the rest of my fingers, which are going to hold both tails of the yarn. Then I'm going to grab my needle. I'm going to make a loop. You can also do a slip knot, like that. And now I am going to start with the German twisted cast on. So I'm going to go under both threads of the thumb and into the space that the thumb makes. And then I'm going to wrap the needle with the thread on my index finger, and then bring it out this little space or window created in the middle. And what I like to do is, for the sake of this pattern, I am not going to make it too taut. I am going to, tighten it, but not too much, so that when I block this, it will be wide enough and not get that like cone effect, because I want it to be loose on the bottom. So I'm going to continue doing that under both of the thumb, into the space created in the thumb, around with the index, and out the space created right in the middle, and tighten but not too much. It's 3, 4, under both of the thumb, in the space created with the thumb, over with my index, and into the window. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, As you can see, there's not a lot of tension here and there's wiggle room to be able to block. I'm just going to keep going until I get to 120. All right, so we've done 120. Now count it several times. Make sure you have the right amount, and I still have enough tail here, about maybe 24 inches to then sew the side. And I just like to knot it so that to add a slip knot here so that it doesn't bother me while I knit. All right, so now we're just going to proceed to continue with the stitch of the sweater, which is for the first section, we're going to do 4 rows of stockinette stitch, and that is because the odds are the drop stitch. And if I don't do it this way, when I do the next section of knots of drop stitch, instead of doing a purl, knit, drop stitch, it's going to be the other way around. So I'm going to do 4 rows, knit, purl, and then the drop stitch purl, and then the drop stitch row. And with that row, I'm going to teach you how to do the drop stitch. It's really fun and fast. So this is really easy. What you're going to do is the following. You're going to go, let me see if I can keep the wire from bothering us. Bring this a little closer. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert your needle into the stitch, and then you're going to wrap the yarn that you have on your finger a couple of times. You can do this however many times you want to do it, but I'm doing it twice. And you're going to do that for every stitch. So you go in, you wrap, and you finish the stitch. All right, and you're going to do that for as many stitches as you have on your needles. The only important thing here is to make sure you're doing the right amount of wraps and that you're not dropping the wrap, because otherwise it's going to be uneven. All right, and so you're going to go all the way to the end, go into the stitch, wrap as many times as you want to, and then finish putting the stitch on your other needle. You can do this you can do more wraps if you want to. I have found that once you go to 3, 4, or more, it's harder when you purl, and it's easier to lose stitches that way once you drop them. So I think 2 is like a good number to, for example, right there. I think 2 is a good number to keep track of things and to be able to see problems if they arise, if you happen to drop a stitch, so that you don't lose the stitch and you have to, unravel in order to know where you are. Eso, I'll see you in a bit. All right, so once you get to the very end, just turn your project, your knitting, and then you will begin to purl. I always knit every single first of my stitches in every row. So I'm going to do that here, just knit it. And then all you need to do is let go of both loops that you did, both wraps. The next one I'm going to purl because it's a purl row. And that's all you do. Purl and then let both wraps off the needle. Just be careful that the stitch doesn't fall off your needle, because then it's sometimes a little bit hard to see, and put it back on the needle. That's all you're going to do. Purl the entire row. Okay, so I just finished purling, and the only thing I forgot to say at the very beginning was be careful with the first drop stitch. I did 2 wraps for this first stitch, and as you can see, it's a lot looser than the rest of the stitches. All right, everyone, so I'm coming from the future. I have already finished the back and I started the front to show you how I am doing the borders. I am not doing loops at all, and I am just making a very loose first stitch. So I'm going to show you. I knit all my first stitches, whether I am in the front of the knitting or in the back. This is because I feel that it makes the side roll less and keep it more even. So that's just a tip I would give a new knitter if they needed it. So for the drop row, the drop stitch row, which is the one I'm going to do now, all I'm doing for the first stitch is putting the needle in and just knitting normally, but allowing the stitch to grow a little bit. So instead of keeping it nice and taut or small, I'm giving it a little bit of extra yarn and then continuing to knit. And that is helping this stay straight. And there's no extra material. It just looks fine. Same thing for the last stitch. I am just going to knit it, but let it be loose. And that way it'll grow with the rest of the piece of the fabric. And I turn it around. Now for the purl row after the drop stitch, I'm just going to knit my first stitch and then continue purling the previous drop stitch row. Whoops. Aye, there we go. And as you can tell, it just falls a lot better that way. And once this is blocked, it'll be nice and straight. Rest is, as you can see here, we're right here, right? I just purled. Then we're gonna do a knit row, another purl row, and then the drop stitch again. So it's drop stitch, purl, knit, purl, drop stitch, purl, knit, purl, drop stitch, and so on and so forth. The only section that has one extra stockinette row is this one. Just to make it even, I did a knit, a purl, a knit, a purl, drop stitch and knit, purl, knit, purl, drop stitch and knit, purl, knit, purl. And that's it. I'll see you when I have about a foot. Hi everyone, it's been a couple of days. It's Monday, and I just wanted to show you my progress. I was able to finish the back. I had told you that I wasn't sure how I was going to finish the neck area, but I have decided that I most likely am going to do this straight, like boat neck, but with a very big opening to kind of make it an off-the-shoulder type sweater. So all I'm doing, and I decided that because shaping the shoulder with this stitch seemed a little bit just not necessarily complicated, but slower calculating, and I didn't want to do that. So I think an off the shoulder option works well for what I want. So this is the back. I may shape the front a little bit. I don't know. That's why I finished the back first. I like to in general finish the back first. No reason except for just that's the way I've always done it. So this is how much I have. I'm giving it some space, assuming that this is going to stretch because I haven't blocked it yet. And so now what's left is another same, something very similar to this for the front. As I said, I may bring this down a little bit and have a bit of a curvature, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. I have to think about it. I'll decide when I get there. And then all I have to do left is the sleeves. As you can tell, I didn't make an indentation for the sleeve. I'm just doing a square all the way up, or a straight line all the way up. And once I have the front, I'll make the sleeves, they will be open, and then I'll have to seam them and add them to the body. But before I do that, I'm gonna finish the 4 pieces and block them so they are where I want them to be. I'll see you when I have the front part done, whether to show you how I'm going to shape it or to show you that I'm done with it. See you soon. So now that I finished the front and back, I am going to proceed with making the sleeves. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to calculate this. As you can tell, the original shape is like this, and I am not going to follow that. So all I'm doing is, let me get closer. All I'm doing is getting the widest point of the straight sleeve, which is here, and measuring that. That measures about 12 centimeters. I'm going to use centimeters right now because it's what I've been using personally while I do this. But you already know how to do the math, so it doesn't matter. And it's a round number instead of the 4 3/4. So I'm going to use 12 to make the calculation. And basically what I'm going to do is the following. I am just going to do, I'm going to start like that, and then I'm going to taper it just a little bit. I'm not going to do this double cuff. So it's going to be a relatively short piece, yeah? So here we go. We're going to do the math here on another piece of recycled paper, as usual. And if you remember, the gauge swatch was 15 centimeters or 6-ish inches. Oh, lovely handwriting in this cold autumn day. And it was 30 stitches wide. Yeah, 30 stitches fit in 15 centimeters. The sleeve we just saw is 12 centimeters, and that's going to be times 2, right? Because I have a front and a back to it. It's a tube. All right, so the math we're going to use is the following. I'm going to say I have 30 stitches in 15 centimeters. You can also use the measurement in inches if you want. And I need to know how many stitches, so X, fit in 12 centimeters. That is a very easy math right there. It's 12 times 3, which is 36, plus a 0 at the end. That's 360 divided by 15, and that's going to be 24. I already did this. So 24 stitches for 12 centimeters. But I have to time that, I have to multiply that by 2 because I need it to be a tube, right? So double that amount. So 24 stitches times 2 is going to be 48. So that's how much I'm going to start with. Now I like, as you know, round numbers. So I added 2 to make, 2, not 5. I added 2 to make 50. And that's the starting number that I am going to use for the cast on of my sleeve. Hi everyone. So I didn't show you exactly what I did because I thought it was enough with the front and the back. But basically I cast on 50. Right? And I followed the exact same stitch that I did for the front and the back. So I did stockinette stitch and then started with the drop stitch. The only thing that I didn't tell you in the snippet before this one was that I tapered this. I mean, I could have done it straight and it would have had a more baggy sleeve that would have hit me right about here. But I didn't want that. I wanted it to be more snug, just like this one fits. So just as this is a little bit tapered, I tapered this one by decreasing 1 stitch at each side every 2 full stitch repetitions. So right here, I decreased one on this side, 1 on this side. That gave me 8. 1 on this side, 1 on this side, 6. 4, 2, and here I just did it straight, so I didn't decrease anymore. So between here and here there is a 10 stitch difference. It looks like a lot, but it's only 5 stitches on each side. And that's it. So I'm going to now block everything. And once I have everything blocked separately, I am going to put it together. So I will see you when I block. And yeah, I'll see you when I block. Hi everyone. So I have soaked up all the pieces. I'm not going to show you that. I don't think it's necessary. All you need to know is that I soaked them really well. I didn't use any shampoo or fancy washes or anything like that. I don't really think they're necessary, especially with a fiber that absorbs so much water like cotton, unless you want to make it smell nice. Otherwise, I kind of just save that money. I think it's a waste of money. All right, so I took all the pieces out of the water and squeezed them to take as much water out without twisting them so as to not, make it affect the shape. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the yellow original piece first, just so I can see how the new pieces compare in terms of width, etc., etc. So as a guide, right? So I'm just gonna put it here like this, and I'm gonna take these ones one by one and match them basically. So here's the first piece. You can see when I plop it on here, it's really wide, but I'm going to try to block it upwards to move all that extra fiber vertically. And now I'm going to do the same with the length of this, top to bottom. All right, now I'm going to do the exact same thing for all the other pieces. I'll see you back in a bit. I basically did the same thing with these in terms of putting the sleeve next to it to make sure that the length was right. This is a little bit longer than the original, but I think it's going to work anyway. So now all we need to do is hope for the day to be nice and hot so this can be ready by tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone. It is 8 in the morning here in Valparaíso on Saturday. It is Saturday 25th. We are 1 week away from Brazil, and we woke up about 30 minutes ago. As you can tell, I'm still very sleepy, and I just wanted to show you, I am desperate at this point. I have no time to spare, which is why you're seeing me in this outfit. And I just wanted to show you the block pieces. I'm going to sew them right now. It turned out really well. They're nice, and I think it's going to be nice and airy, but that's the back side. I really like it. It's like that. So now I'm going to sew them together, and I'll show you. I'm going to put it on the table and show you how I do it. I think, okay, Baba. He's letting me know he's done with his milk. I'm going to do a sort of boat neck, and I'm going to let the neck be very open so it falls a little bit, so one of the shoulders falls a little bit. I think I like that for summer. And that's about it. And then we'll be done. I'll be done with it, and I'll be able to show you how it looks. What, baby?
All right, so as I wait to make some bread for Max, or toast some bread, I'm going to show you how this fits in relation to the original. As you can see, the blocking process went really well. I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter lengthwise, but no, it came out pretty much the same. Because I didn't do the slope on the shoulders, the bottom of this might sit a little like that on my body, so we'll see. I didn't want to do the slope on the shoulder because I didn't want to make it too complicated for this tutorial. I think it's a good idea that I didn't do it. So now I am going to show you how I'm going to do the seams. Here's one of the sleeves, and we'll compare it to the original sleeve just to show you how it came out. So this is going to be doubled like that and then added. It's a little bit longer than the original, as you know, but it's going to sit right about here, so that's fine. It's not a complete sleeve. So we are going to do the seam now. All right. So we're going to turn it inside out like that. And I have left a long tail at the end to do exactly this. You obviously don't have to. You can leave it at the beginning or you don't have to leave it at all. And that's fine. And I'm going to use this, needle here. There we go. It's super, super thick, I know, but that way you can see it. And all I'm going to do is, this is going to be a little bit difficult to sew together because this area is super loose, right? So what I'm going to do is just focus more on the parts where the fabric is a little bit more solid. And I'm going to line up each piece, right? To make sure this doesn't happen and it gets all wonky. You want to make sure that the pearls go with pearls and that the drop stitch goes with drop stitch and so on. So I'm just going to do probably 2 stitches on the drop stitch portion. I mean, it's early, on the garter portion, and then just 1 stitch on the drop stitch portion, just to keep it together and make sure that there's no holes that are too big. Then I'm going to come here at the beginning of the garter stitch where it's more firm. And I never do it too tight. I just make sure that it's close to the fabric, and that's it. And then again in this area with the garter stitch. It's garter because it's inside out, right? I'm going to do a 3rd one. I have enough for 3 here. So there I go. And here on the drop stitch, I'm just going to bring them together by doing 1. And I'm going to do that for the rest of the seams of the sweater. So I'm going to seam the other sleeve, and then I will seam the sides and the top of the main parts, and then add the sleeves. I will see you when I try this on in a little bit. All right, everyone. So before I show you how it fits, I discovered this. I am super upset about this. Here in this stitch, I only caught a minimal part of the yarn when I knit, and then I kept going. This is in the middle of one of the front or back panels. So I'm not going to undo this. It's already been blocked. It's already been sewn. So all I'm going to do is come here with some yarn. I took about 2 feet of yarn. You don't need that much, but it's a piece I had. And I am going to start it around here and just weave in and out, following the thread, following the yarn, to come and reinforce this section and then keep going so that it's nice and firm. Yeah, and I'm going to show you how I do that. It's pretty simple. I'm going to come in from underneath the fabric. I put a piece of cardboard so you could actually see what happened. And I am going to start about here-ish. Underneath, I'm going to leave 4 or 5 inches. And then I'm going to start weaving, following the pattern or following the stitches to hide this new thread and sort of double it up. So this is going to come down now over here. Like that. We'll adjust them in a minute. There we go. And as you can see, they hide pretty well. So that's what we're going to keep doing. I'm going to go up now. Oh no, up here. There we go. Just take your time doing this. There we go. Now I'm going to come down here. go. And as you can see, I'm just doubling it up. It's not going to be very noticeable. I'll probably leave this as the back of the fabric, and that way it won't look too bulky, or it won't really matter. It's so airy and breezy that I don't think it'll matter. Okay, now we're coming to where I made the mistake. I'm just gonna keep going in the same manner that I've been coming so far. And here I am going to try to see if I can grab some of this when I go behind it, just so I can keep it safe from future snags. So I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna follow the thread, which goes behind this. Aye. And now in here and this way. So all I'm doing is reinforcing it and hiding it, as you can see. Now you almost can't see where it is, and it looks like there was a knot, and it's barely seeable. So that's it. Now I'm going to bring it up. All right, so what do I do in the back? I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to show you how I finish this. So this is what it looks like in the back. The mistake is right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to weave in and out a couple of these stitches, but inside the stitches to kind of, inside the yarn to kind of tangle this a little bit so that it can settle and use the fabric to hold on to the this thread that I added. Whatever you do, just make sure that you are checking to check that it doesn't look funky on the other side. All right, and then I'll snag, or I'll grab half of one more thread, and then I'm just gonna go around it once more and into the yarn that I'm using to fix it itself. And then I'm going to cut it. And then all we need to do is clip. I like to clip a little bit long, just in case, just so that it doesn't show in the front. Now we're gonna move back a little. And we'll do the other side, clip. And that is how I got that fixed. It's not perfect. Where is it? Hey, there we go. It's not perfect, but it's better than having to undo a whole bunch of work.
Hi everyone, so it is Sunday morning, next day. We are 5 days away from going to Brazil, and I am wearing one of the rompers I made for Brazil, and I'm going to try the sweater on now. It's finished. I had to finish it last night. I wasn't able to finish it during the day, so I'm going to show you what it looks like. I don't have a mirror, but I tried it on before filming, so I know that it fits well enough. So this is what it looks like. I think it came out pretty well. There's a couple of things that I could have done better. One thing that I didn't consider was that this material, because it's cotton, it's a little bit more stiff than the original material of the yellow sweater. So this extra fabric kind of is very noticeable. I don't mind it. I wanted something really wide and I'm gonna wear it anyway. But I think if I didn't want so much fabric here, I should have brought this in a little bit and done some shaping underneath in the armpit, and that would have been better. If I close it, if I grab a little bit and close it, you can actually see that it fits better, but I like it. I think it looks great. Apart from that, this doesn't really come off the shoulder. I sewed it just at right about the shoulder. And I'm fine with that. I had originally thought of maybe something that looked a little bit like this. So I'm gonna see how it feels. I'm gonna wear it a little bit this morning and see how it feels. And I may undo a couple of stitches for it to fall. It fits perfectly right now around my clavicle and to my shoulders. And I don't really have to shift it or move it, which is one of the things I think might happen if it goes off shoulder. So we'll see. Let me know in the comments if you like it. or not, or what you think of it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I would really appreciate you hitting the like button. I have other tutorials and other videos about sewing and knitting. If you are interested in that, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this one. If you didn't like it, I hope you like the next one. And I will see you from Rio. Thank you for watching. Bye.